You can just do that over and over and over again with compute. You just start running it all through. And it's not like, oh, the LLMs are out now that can do this. So therefore, anything I did before was private. No, everything you did before is
Yeah,
like
because they're
12
going
years
back to
of
scoop it up. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. I mean, like I've been on Twitter
AI
since
tools to do.
2012. Like all my posts are public since like 2012 on that stuff. I've been, not super crazy about that stuff, but all that's out there, all that past data, the Bitcoin blockchain again goes back forever, and like all this stuff could come back to haunt you. And so, like today, like I'm not even saying like 2 years from now. I'm saying like next year. Let's just be careful about what we put out there. And so I don't want to make people be like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. I'll never be able to do. I can't even use any of this stuff. You should, but just be careful how you use it. Do everything as privately as you can. And more importantly, we need to build privacy tools. We need to use privacy tools, and we need to throw money at privacy tools and just keep growing and growing and make sure the privacy tools are usable and they don't like suck to use, so more people use them.
Let me ask, do you think that development of these privacy tools is kind of like a slow and steady growth right now, or do you think it's plateaued? What do you think? What's your thought process?
I think it's going really well and really fast. And the only reason I say that is because I've watched how it has developed over time. So like as a little like history lesson, like from the old Unk over here, Crypto Unk, which should be what I should call myself from now on. So from my first Bitcoin wallet was 2013. And I remember 2014 or something like that. They changed it so where I got a new address every time. I didn't even understand it. So I thought because I started with one Bitcoin address I kept reusing. And I was just like, that's just the worst for privacy. But like I had that one address, and then they kept giving me new ones. I didn't understand why eventually. And it's like, okay, well then there's that. Then somewhere around 2013 to 15, I don't remember. So Dash integrated its privacy function in 2014. I think it stands as the oldest still surviving privacy project. And then Monero came out a few months later. At the time, Monero just had a ring signature, so it had a few decoys, but all amounts were public and visible. And Adam Back came out with something called confidential transactions, which is a zero knowledge proof that hides the amounts and balances of addresses. That was meant for Bitcoin, but Monero implemented it in 2017, and the transaction sizes were huge after that. So like 2017, 18, 19, maybe even, I don't remember. But Monero fees were consistently like $2 a transaction for several months in a row because of just how much data this used. It was just unworkable. And then a cryptographic upgrade called Bulletproofs came out, where you manage to do the math that does this hiding like in so much less data, and then all of a sudden the transaction fees went off a cliff because it's now easy to do. I remember the very first Zcash transaction I ever saw someone do in person was 2016 or 17. Someone brought a laptop to a store, and with his command line wallet generated the Sprout pool cryptographic proof for this, and it took him like 10 minutes on a laptop to generate the transaction. And now, several generations way better, way more private, way more solid, the Orchard pool can be generated on a smartphone in like 3-4 seconds. So like I've seen the tech get so much smoother and better. Now there's some ideas with the way Zcash is scaling. There's a project called Tachyon, which would make it so you could scale it a little bit more effectively with the infrastructure to have millions of people. There's a lot of stuff going on. We're still far, I don't know. I would say we're 5 years from everyone can use top level privacy, and you can get a lot of people using it, and it works. But like right now we're not there, but you're getting close to this breakthrough, I think.
So then you don't think it's going to take all these, like we're already seeing, India ban it, or privacy coins I'm talking about, seeing, Europe going in that direction. The US, if you ask me, is not far behind. You don't think it's going to take that kind of push for an acceleration in the privacy end of crypto? You think it's just going to kind of get there within the next By the
Yeah,
end of this decade, let's go with that.
I think we're seeing the acceleration now. Like they're seeing
Okay.
the market throw money into it, even despite all this uncertainty. We're seeing, things do pretty well. We're seeing the U.S. sort of call off a lot of problems, but then the rest of the world starting to ratchet things up. And then, as we said, with the dexes, we're seeing it not be a problem anymore. So, so I think it's really going to escalate, and I think probably what we're going to see is, if I were to guess, I think we're going to see a large adoption of privacy assets around the world, and then we're going to see a lot of pressure being put on a lot of these more restrictive governments saying, "Hey, why can't I need privacy. I got carjacked in Paris because, you know, someone tracked to my ledger that I had this much and, why can't I do this? Your government's banned this." And they're going to find some kind of a compromise to let a little something back in. I don't know if that means you can have privacy as long as there's a back door, which
Right.
some people might do that kind of stuff, or there might be a thing where y- there's just certain requirements. Like if you're using privacy assets, you have to disclose the view keys for the previous 2 or 3 hops, and then everything's fine. And it's gonna be a big pain in the ass. People won't want to do it, and it won't really do much, but it will make the regulators feel like they have some power when they don't actually.